greatest athlete in the world. His record, 50 and 1/2 hot dogs and buns. Welcome him to the stage, Kobayashi.
Here's a man who can eat 53 and 1/2 hot dogs and buns in 12 minutes. There's no way to explain how he can get the food that he eats into his stomach as quickly as he does. When you watch it, his fingers begin to blur with the hot dogs, and you cannot tell where his fingers begin and where the hot dogs end. But he is clearly operating on a different plane than the rest of the eaters.
Stuffing your face is big business in America and Japan. Thousands of dollars can be won in prize money from the 40 eating contests held in the US every year. Everything from popcorn to cow brains. To its devotees, it's as much a sport as baseball or American football. Over 1 million people watch the annual hot dog eating challenge staged at Coney Island every 4th of July. It's considered the World Cup of competitive eating. Now the search is on for a UK eater to take on the best and biggest in the world. Over the last 6 months, a series of heats have whittled down challengers to 4 hungry finalists, each eager to become the first official British competitive eating champion.
The 4 horsemen of the esophagus are here for you today!
They will face each other in a pork pie eating contest to determine who has the biggest appetite, the strongest jaws, and the right to eat for Britain at the International Hot Dog Contest.
I want to win this event desperately.
Whoever it is, they're going to have to put their stomachs on the line by going up against the seasoned pros of America and Japan. America might be the home of competitive eating, but it is Japan that has produced the greatest eater the world has ever seen. 27-year-old Takeru Kobayashi has dedicated his life to filling his slender stomach as quickly as possible. He's the world's only professional eater and reputedly earns $125,000 a year in prize money and sponsorship. In his first year of competition, he ate 50 hot dogs in 12 minutes, doubling the world record. But being number 1 hasn't turned his head though. He's a shy, unassuming, but totally determined character.
そうですね、競争すること、自分に挑戦すること、そういうのは子供の頃から大好きです。週に3回から4回ウェイトトレーニングはしてます。1年間いつでもトレーニングは続けていて、要はそのフーファイティングのための食べるトレーニングをしてないオフの時もウェイトトレーニングを続けてます。オフのトレーニング食用トレーニング始める前に体重を落としていくのは食べるトレーニングの準備段階で体に脂肪があると、特に内臓に脂肪があると胃が膨らむスペースがなくなってしまうので余分な脂肪を落としています。はい。
Kobayashi is not only the greatest athlete living, he may be something that is more than an athlete or more than a human. He can eat 20 pounds of rice in under 20 minutes. He can eat 53 and 1/2 hot dogs and buns in 12 minutes. Many people think, this must be a carnival sideshow. At one point, they see someone who's trained, they see someone who uses meditation and focus and has a strategy and wins. And on the other hand, they see something that they can't explain, and it might as well be the two-headed baby.
If Kobayashi can make a decent living out of eating cow brains, he has one man to thank. Head of the International Federation of Competitive Eating, George Shea. With his media savvy, evangelical zeal, he's taken competitive eating to a global audience. George is a public relations man by day and knows what makes for good copy and pictures. No claim for his beloved pastime of competitive eating is too outrageous for George.
We have a goal. We believe that this is the most beautiful sport now being practiced and probably the most dramatic. And our goal is to bring this throughout the world and to bring it to the Olympics. We have sent unknown number of letters. We've reached out to Jacques Rogue, the president of the IOC, who has snubbed us. Competitive eating is actually more akin to the original sports of the original Olympics, the running, the jumping, the wrestling, the fighting, the throwing, the eating, you see? Rather than, mini golf. Miniature golf is a trial sport in the Olympics, I believe. Miniature golf. And yet they turn up their nose at competitive eating.
When people ask me what my husband does, it's kind of a little odd. I always kind of start with like, do you know the Nathan's Famous contest? And people say yes, they know the Nathan's contest, and they're usually familiar with Takeru Kobayashi, the Japanese guy who wins every year. And so I sort of say, well, he does the PR for that, and he's the MC. And they're always kind of really relieved that he's not one of the eaters in the contest. But it's just odd. It's an odd thing to do for a living, I think.
Yeah, Crazy Legs, it's George Shea. Tomorrow's thing with GMA has been moved to 9 a.m.
I would say he is kind of obsessed. He loves it, he's passionate about it, and he loves being the center of attention.
9.
And the competitive eaters, they have no bounds. They call here all the time, and he's very passionate about what he does, but I kind of just wish that, he's a brilliant PR man, and I think there's plenty of other, things he could be promoting.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
I'm breaking his heart saying this, but competitive eating to me is not really a sport. It's a bunch of guys eating, It's not like, I don't see the athleticism in competitive eating.
George isn't going to let his wife's opinion get in the way of spreading the gospel of competitive eating. He's come to the UK to host a new event in the sports calendar. The winner of this eat-off will represent Britain at the Coney Island Hot Dog Championship. But not everyone over here shares George's love of mastication.
I did notice a little hostility. In a way, I'm the Jerry Adams of eating, and a lot of people are angry at me, but I think they'll realize that what I have to offer is a bridge to a new sport that in many ways brings us back to our very essence. The athletes in the UK and fans in the UK are known for their passion. So ideally what we'll find here today is someone who can advance the sport and really be an ambassador to a whole new region.
George is moving into unfamiliar territory. The UK eating contest is to be held at a modified car rally near Nottingham, and these 4 finalists won't be eating hot dogs. They'll be cramming in as many pork pies as they can in 12 minutes to claim the UK crown. Eating the pies is only part of the challenge. Keeping them down is another. In April this year, 40 eager eaters took part in national heats, all hoping to become Britain's first competitive eating champion, with the winner going on to represent the UK at the World Hot Dog Eating Contest in New York. The mastermind behind this is All-American showman George Shea. It's part of his plan for competitive eating to go global.
I am on a journey as a representative of the IFOCE because it is time for Britain, for the UK, for this entire part of the world to come into the fold with America and Japan and join in our quest to create a sport that is meaningful to everyone.
The 4 would-be champion eaters who made it through the heats will now face each other in an all-you-can-eat pork pie challenge.
Dare to be different, dare to be wonderful, dare to be happy.
One of Rob's more notable eating feats was chomping through the whole of the Burger King menu in one sitting for a bet. He won, with room to spare.
When I saw the ad, I remember sort of looking at it thinking, well, this is something I can do, this is something I think I'll be good at. And just thought, sod it, I'm going to have a go for it.
I wasn't shocked because that's Robert for you.
A lot of the times when I polish off their food when we're out eating, it's genuinely because I'm still hungry.
Well, he's just a mammoth. You don't want to leave your plate with him because the chances are there'll be nothing left on it when you come back. So you don't go to the toilet just in case.
So I've been an eater. If I have to hold my hands up, I was a portly kid. Always had a penchant for the savoury snacks in life.
Martin's always had quite a big appetite for drink, coke, beer latterly, and certainly food, chips, chicken, things like that. It would not be something I would wish to go to. Certainly his grandmother is appalled, absolutely appalled by it. But as long as he isn't one of those that makes a mess or throws up or has stuff hanging out of his mouth, I would be fine with it.
Jim is the bookie's favourite. He's the only one with world eating records to his name.
Well, my experience was mostly around oysters and Guinness, and I've done that for a number of years, holding the world record for 12 oysters and a pint of Guinness, just over 13 seconds. I think the fastest pint ever was 1.8 seconds.
Andrew Coulson works as a stockbroker in the City of London. Not the background you'd expect for a competitive eater.
Bemusement would be the way to describe my family's reaction. I think they were just very confused and didn't quite understand my mother in particular, didn't quite understand what she'd done wrong in terms of bringing me up.
The eaters in Coney
It's the 29th of May, the day of the UK final. For the event, George is testing out a new food. He wants something distinctively British. So each of the four men face an infinite pile of pork pies. The one who stuffs down the most in 12 minutes will become the UK eating champ.
Frankly, if you break this in half, you know, it's, look at that, look at that. The shell is really very doughy, it's very tough, and my heart goes out to these eaters. This would be a challenge for even the greatest eaters.
I'm aware what's in a pork pie. We're talking a lot of eyelids, bits of trotter, pig's ear, congealed in a gelatin kind of fat, ensconced in a kind of all butter lard pastry. They're not good for you.
I'm ashamed to admit I only had one sort of dry run with pork pies and I didn't find it very pleasant. It wasn't something I wanted to repeat.
I tried them with water, tried them with milk, but each time they would stick in my throat. And then I realised just pastry was not my thing.
The truth is, with pork pies, if you don't get them before he does, then they are gone. It's as simple as that, like. You know, so you have to be a bit quick on getting a pork pie before he actually gets his hands on them.
Much like the governor of the Bank of England, competitive eaters face a very significant challenge, which of course is to balance the forces of inflation and deflation. But they also must have hand speed, jaw strength, and stomach capacity. Those are the three significant tools that they need to win at the eating game.
The time of waiting is over. George whips up the crowd in the style of an old-time carnival huckster, an act honed over the course of hundreds of eating competitions.
They say that competitive eating is the battleground upon which God and Lucifer wage war for men's souls. The four horsemen of the esophagus are here for you today!
I'm a big slice. I'll probably be a contender at this sport. Time I rolled the dice. Let's get me involved.
The winner of the competition may have to eat as many as 20 pork pies in the next 12 minutes.
I held the world record for 3 years in oysters and Guinness, and I missed the spotlight. I really want this one.
At stake is a trip of a lifetime and the chance to represent their country against the seasoned eaters of America and Japan. In order to fill their stomachs to maximum capacity, they're going to have to keep their nerves at bay.
I want to win this event desperately, and the prospect of going to Japan and then on to New York to compete is overwhelming, and I wouldn't have entered it if I didn't want to win.
There's one thing that every eater needs, and that every great eater has, and that is character. It's the intangible aspect of the athlete. They either have it or they don't. They're a gamer or they're not.
The direction the food must follow, of course, is down. If there is a reversal in that direction at any juncture during this contest before the whistle blows, that will be an immediate disqualification. I think you know what I'm saying. I would like to not refer to it directly, however, if and only if it is necessary, I will utter the phrase, Elvis has left the building. I give you the UK Eating Championship. Count down with me, if you will, from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! They are off, ladies and gentlemen. Here they are, perhaps the greatest challenge of their lives.
The clock is running, and all the eaters get off to a good start. After the first couple of pies, they're all neck and neck. Each eater has adopted a different strategy. Rob and Andy chomping steadily, while Jim Glackin is taking on a lot of water. Martin prefers to devour them whole. Big Red, as he calls himself, is dominating proceedings. Martin has got through his first plate of 10 pies and has established a lead. Andy is 1 pie behind him, with the others struggling to keep up.
Just more than 3 minutes into this contest, ladies and gentlemen. They're on their second plate. I never expected it to happen, but both Big Red and Andy the doctor are plowing through these pork pies as if they were French fries, ladies and gentlemen. Poor Jimmy Glackin, so skilled in the world of oyster eating, seems to be struggling somewhat with the pork pie. It is a marriage that is not made in heaven.
6 minutes into the contest, and Martin is out in front, leading Andy, the Dr. Coulson, by 2 pies. Rob is in 3rd place, with Jim struggling in 4th.
The grease in the water congealed in the back of my throat. They started to go down a little bit slower and slower.
Big Red is establishing a very small lead.
First 10, they went down pretty good. No problems. It wasn't a question of how many I could eat. It was a question of how many they could keep bringing me.
A competitive eater's greatest fear is the feeling of a full stomach. Speed and cramming can lead to a sense of bloating, which in the worst case causes vomiting.
Big Red is shaking.
I can't remember at what point I felt I was in trouble. I just simply reached full. Water was my downfall. I didn't quite realise, but during the course of the 12 minutes, I approximately drank 3 to 4 pints of water, as well as the considerable amount of pies.
The Big Red has fallen. Big Red has fallen.
The mistakes, the showboating, the crowd, the wrong sort of preparation. What did I do right?
We still have 1 minute and 40 seconds left. The doctor now adjusting his strategy. He realizes he must fend off a late innings push by one of these 2 other eaters. Oh my goodness, shaking, trying to get that food to move down into the...
With Big Red disqualified, Andy Coulson is on course to take the crown. Just behind him is Rob Burns. By now, Jim Glackin is out of the running.
Wait a second, Rob Burns is coming back. He has refused to give up. He has refused to accept defeat. Putting the pressure on the doctor, putting the pressure on Andy Coulson. Stand back. He may be able to do it.
Unknown to Andy, Rob Burns had been munching away at a steady pace and is beginning to catch up. They are now on 16 pies each. The final minute sees a desperate battle between the 2.
But there are no white flags in Great Britain, ladies and gentlemen. We shall fight in the fields, we shall fight in the oceans, and this man is going on to Coney Island. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put down your profile.
It was so close at the end that both of them thought they'd won.
Oh, dear Lord. Perhaps the closest contest I have ever witnessed, and perhaps the greatest comeback in history. Ladies and gentlemen, Babyface Rob! Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the International Federation of Competitive Eating, that concludes our contest. A round of applause for the guys.
Rob Burns is crowned the first official UK eating champ. For Andy, his efforts were in vain.
I had an empty mouth at the end of the competition. I could have stuffed it with a couple of pies and really gone for it. So, I mean, I have to admit that was my fault. I didn't push as hard as I could have done, and you know, I paid the price for that.
Could you eat more if there were time?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And if you had to guess, it's very hard to estimate, what level of capacity have you reached now? Do you have another, if you had another 30 minutes and speed wasn't it, could you do another 10 pork pies? What could you do?
There's another gate I could flick into, absolutely. Yeah, I could probably do another 18.
George returns to the US confident he has got his man. For Rob, the next 4 weeks are going to be intense. For starters, there's a trip to Japan to study at the feet of the master, Kobayashi. Then the main course, the World Hot Dog Eating Championship at Coney Island on the 4th of July. No wonder he gets straight into training.
I'll have to bribe me, Joel.
By chomping through 18 pork pies in 12 minutes, Rob Burns from Wolverhampton is the UK's first official eating champ and the toast of the Midlands media. But he can't afford to bask under the publicity spotlight. He has less than 4 weeks to prepare for the World Hot Dog Eating Contest in Coney Island, New York.
The pork pie thing was intense, actually. I remember emotionally trying to understand and let it sink in that I'd won. Physically feeling absolutely exhausted. In fact, I remember the paramedic running round after the event asking if I was okay. I think there's just a look of awe and shock on my face than anything. And it was a while before I could face a pork pie again, actually.
I don't really feel there's a great expectation. I think everybody's wishing me well and wishing me all the best. And it's nice that there is no real expectation to go out there and win. But that's only because some unknown elements, and it'll be exactly the same with the competitors once I get there. And that's nice. It's nice being the underdog. It's nice being the unknown.
Cheese. Chicken on this one.
We always had greens and vegetables and things like that, but Rob never liked them. So it's chips mostly, and things like that, and burgers, and as you say, the hot dogs, he likes those.
I don't like tomato.
I think he'll do quite well. I hope he does. I hope he does. Keep up the good work. Don't put it on here, though.
Oh, no.
No, look, there's these two.
Before winning the pork pie contest, Rob hadn't had any experience of competitive eating, but he's always been up for a challenge, sometimes to the embarrassment of his family.
Not excited about me representing our country in America?
I'm embarrassed because my dad's a big eater.
The kids think I'm absolute lunatic, and that'll never change anyway, no matter what I do. Lisa's exactly the same, but they're always supportive, so not a problem.
Tomorrow, fly to Japan, meet the world champ.
The first stage in his preparation for the 4th of July contest is a trip to Japan to meet world champion Takeru Kobayashi.
Depends how well it goes in the States, I guess. Yeah. But there's no way I'm going to stand up there and disgrace myself. You know, stand up there and do 10 hot dogs or 20 hot dogs. I want to stand up there and I want to try and do 60. That's what I want to aim for.
It's now going out to certain record numbers.
You don't enter something like this on the premise that it's a free trip, because it's not. So I spent some time with Kobayashi. The first thing I'm going to ask him is if he's got tonsils, because he just straight down, no messing up, swallow, 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 swallow. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm hoping to frighten him while I'm in Japan, yeah?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Having seen Kobayashi perform in 2004, and the prospect of meeting the guy, you really can't put it into words. You know, he's an amazing eater. Well, in fact, that doesn't even sum it up. So the prospect of standing next to him, basically, you know, and conversing and eating with the man, you know, and having him sort of impart his tips and tricks, I guess, is something I'm really looking forward to. You know, anything that we can do to prepare for New York is going to be pretty cool.
Competitive eating challenges used to get the big treatment on Japanese TV. Now it's fallen on hard times. 3 years ago, shows featuring Kobayashi were common on TV. Then, a high school student tried to copy one of the challenges and died, speed eating rice. Japan turned its back on eating challenges. And now Kobayashi plies his trade in the US. Before meeting with him, Rob watches the master at work on an American TV show.
It's unbelievable. He just keeps shoveling it in. It's a constant shovel. It's unbelievable. I thought he was slowing down, he's just gone right at it again.
Hajime maste robo desu.
いただきます。例えばこれがホットドッグだとしたら、こうやって奥歯で噛むんじゃなくて、この前の歯でこうやって切るんですよ。そうすると疲れないので、ここが。なので奥であんまり噛みすぎると時間が経ってくると動かなくなってくるので、最初のうちは前の方で細かく切るようにして、緊張もするんですけど、他のいろんなコンテストに出てる経験豊富な選手たちと一緒に戦えるっていうことをまず楽しむこと、競技を楽しめば記録は最初の年はやっぱりついてくるものです。なので楽しんでくださいということと、あとは12分間絶対に集中力を切っちゃダメです。切ったら止まります。集中力を切ったらスピードも止まるし、ソーセージの脂っこい味が。
My biggest fear about Kony is embarrassing my friends and supporters that I now have going into the event by not doing well enough. How do you think I could handle that mentally?
しっかりと準備して、そしてコンテストでも全力でやったのであれば、それを笑う資格を持ってる人もいなければ、それを低く評価することをできる人もいないと思ってますから、でそれは誰でもそうだと思います。なので。
Back in Wolverhampton, with Kobayashi's advice ringing in his ears and time running out, Rob has to raise his game. With Amor as his trainer, Rob works on his hot dog eating technique. He's got to eat one hot dog every 30 seconds if he's to achieve his goal.
You're looking at 9 seconds to get to where you are now.
Yeah, I don't got that one.
I think probably one of the things you need to focus on is just getting your sausage in, and there you're going to actually, whether you gnaw it into little pieces or you have it in chunks and swallow it in bigger chunks.
In an effort to increase his stomach capacity, he orders 6 portions of curry and rice at his local Balti house. Oddly, throughout his training, he hasn't put on an ounce in weight.
How is that rice working for you now? Do you get indigestion at all?
Just mesmerised, carry on.
I was literally mesmerised with it, because generally you go for a curry and it's like rice and you have the meat and the sauce and that's it. Yeah, probably 4 dishes before I'd finish my main meal, so it just shows you the extent of what he can eat when he actually puts his mind to it.
I know you said it'd be nice to do 60 hot dogs or whatever, but have you got a limit you set yourself to get to?
I want to do in excess of 20.
So anything over 20?
Anything over 20 I'll be happy with.
So I do wish you well, Coulson, you better win as well.
I'm going to win.
Do your best, that's all you can do, just do your best.
60 hot dogs, 12 minutes,
as long as you're As long as you're all right after it, I don't want you poorly.
Oh no, I won't be poorly.
No, well, see you ain't.
Only if I fall over on the stage, that's the only chance I've got of being poorly, but no, I'll be okay.
No, you'll be... I'll be there with you in thought, don't worry.
That is scary. Absolutely scary. So he actually eats the dog first before he eats the bun?
Yeah, but you watch the way he does the buns in a bit.
Is that he walks it down?
Oh, the more watching them down, but it's just the way he does it.
It's like a conveyor belt. Most of the bread's just...
Yeah.
We have to get another couple of men to carry him out.
Good luck, champ.
And bring it back.
It's 2 days from the World Hot Dog Eating Championship, and the big eat has come to the Big Apple. Rob's training and preparation is finally going to be put to the test. George Shea is in his element. With his public relations skills in overdrive, he's organised a weigh-in for the eaters right by City Hall.
That was kind of real. That was kind of scary.
The World Series is dominated.
George has even managed to swing it for Kobayashi to throw out the first pitch at the New York Mets baseball game. More publicity for the impending main event at Coney Island.
To have Kobayashi throw in the first pitch at Shea Stadium, there with Mike Piazza, who's a huge hero, a huge sporting hero, and to have the players from the bullpen come out, present him with a shirt, it was really astounding, So the stars have aligned for our sport to step up and take its place in the world's pantheon of great sports.
Rob knows he's in the big league now. Some of the eaters he's up against are almost twice his size. Man-mountains like Ed Cookie Jarvis and Eric Badlands Booker, who between them hold a stomach-churning number of eating records.
A 76-ounce steak and a side of spinach in 7.5 minutes.
49 glazed donuts in 8 minutes.
4.5 pounds of Nathan's French fries in 6 minutes.
3 Maui onions in 1 minute.
30.5 hot dogs and buns in 12 minutes.
Pea eating champ.
A 17-inch pizza in 3 minutes.
Cheesecake eating champ of the world.
21.5 cannolis in 6 minutes. If you're an American and you win that belt, they'd probably have you to the White House, and you'd probably get treated like royalty because no American's been able to win it back.
As the competition approaches, the rivalry between the eaters intensifies. Ed Cookie Jarvis, who came third in 2004, is growing increasingly bitter about Kobayashi's dominance at the 4th of July event.
If I got first, would I be ecstatic? Absolutely. I'd be the most thrilled guy in America. And I'm sure America would be thrilled for me. And then you could finally put the comment to rest. How come you can't beat that little Japanese guy? Mushrooms.
Rob joins Cookie at an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet, part of Cookie's pre-contest preparation. Rob wants to get as many tips for the competition as possible, but Cookie isn't as generous with advice as Kobayashi was.
Trying to find a method that best suits, and whether to dunk, not to dunk, how much
try to
to
get
dunk
into a
out
rhythm.
for, and, yeah.
Once you get into a rhythm, it doesn't really matter.
So you find honed your technique then, as you've gone on, or?
I've watched Kobayashi a lot. This is America, man. America's rough. The key to Monday is after 15 hot dogs to catch a burp.
Yeah.
Because if not, you don't get the keys to the city to hit 20. I can eat 25. And then you never get the burp. And then all of a sudden it's adios. It'll come out faster than it went in. It's not attractive. That's the worst. I think that's got to be the worst thing in competitive eating, is to lose the food.
Yeah. And I've seen it
You
happen.
make a big splash of things. You don't want to do that. Actually, we had a guy a couple years ago from Thailand. He got upset stomach, and one of the guys that was standing next to him, he puked all over him. He had a hot dog in his pocket when he went back to the room. In his pocket.
No.
Boy, Bulat, the oyster champ. He said, I got back to the room and I had a hot dog in my pocket that was partly eaten. I said, oh, that's ugly. That's bad.
Rob's biggest test is only 24 hours away, but there's a hitch in his preparation. He's never tasted the unique championship hot dog. To win tomorrow, he'll have to eat over 50, but today, he's struggling with just
I've never
one.
had a hot dog this greasy, have you?
Never, and I probably never will again after Monday, you know?
It's the day before the World Hot Dog Eating Contest. The organizer, George Shea, is putting all his publicity know-how to the test in staging an event that will be seen by over 1 million people across America.
The Wall of Fame at Nathan's Famous is the Times Square of Brooklyn. And people come by here and just drive by or check in year-round to try to get a sense how far are we away from the contest. Now we are under 24 hours, you know, so the anticipation grows exponentially until tomorrow, just before noon. It is just an enormous groundswell of emotion and trepidation.
Rob Burns, the UK champ, is at Nathan's, along with Rookie Eater of the Year, Tim Janis. This is the home of the 4th of July contest. Rob hasn't had one of their hot dogs before, and the distinctive taste comes as a bit of a shock.
Here we go. Hey, have at it. Take your first bite.
I can't describe what that tastes like, actually.
Oh.
That is surprisingly greasy, salty.
But the taste is like it's your best friend and your worst enemy, because as you go on, the taste is more pronounced, you know? You're more sensitive to that strong flavor. Like I always tell myself that as powerful as the flavor is, that it's a good thing. And like I don't know, I try to imagine I'm
You tend
gaining
to sort
strength.
of focus off it in the end and just sort of think about anything rather than the fact that you're eating the dog or...
I just try to say to myself that bad taste is a good taste and try to convince myself otherwise, you know?
Okay. I think it's fair to say I'm pretty nervous. Sort of getting the shakes a little bit, I think, but it's more of a nervous excitement than anything else. Everything we've done over the last few weeks, leading up to 12 minutes tomorrow in front of all the media that's going to be there, I think that's probably the most daunting thing. Doubt whether I'll get very much sleep tonight either, but I'll maybe go out this evening and have you know, a little drink, a little bit of salad, because I really am starving.
Each year we gather here at the corner of Surf and Stillwell to hold the Nathan's Famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. We gather here to determine the flavor of freedom. Welcome to Brooklyn! Are we in Brooklyn? Are we in New York? And admit to you, it is the flavor of the Nathan's Famous hot dog and bun. Okay, I just want to take quick attendance.
You know, when Rob gets on that bus of champions, it's all going to hit home to him in a very powerful way. We're not screwing around anymore. Kobayashi's on the bus. Ed Cookie Jarvis, Badlands Booker, and he's going to realize that he has to step up and do what he can to represent the UK or go home in defeat, and I think that may cause a little bit of anxiety.
Oh my goodness!
I remember getting off the bus, it was just overwhelming, actually. The nerves kicked in, but not because of what I was about to do. The nerves kicked in just because of the sheer scale of everything and the stark realisation that, yeah, it's actually huge.
We have come here for something greater, to remind ourselves why we love America. The Nathan's Famous 4th of July International Hot Dog Eating Contest begins!
It was quite strange, because I remember looking out into the crowd having got on stage, and I seem to remember looking to my right, and there's a sort of a placard there going, "Go, Rob, go," or whatever it said. And then I looked to my left, and there was one there as well. And you stood there thinking, well, you know, I'm in the United States, I'm in Coney Island. These people don't know me from Adam, and yet they're sort of holding up cards going, go, Rob, go, and it was fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, that means that we have all of our eaters.
I've been sort of in touch with friends and family pretty regularly over the last few days, and again, the response is extremely positive. You know, they're all just do your best, you know, don't worry about a thing, you know, just come off stage, and as long as you've done your best, then it's not a problem.
Are you ready to
In front of millions of Americans, Rob is about to endure the longest 12 minutes of his life.
3, 2, 1, begin!
12 minutes is a funny thing. You've got all this food in front of you that's pretty alien to you know, even though you may have tried it once or twice. And you're having to ram down as much as you possibly can within that 12 minutes, not be sick, and whatever else it is, and all this is running through your mind. 12 minutes is nothing. It goes in an absolute blink.
Rob makes a strong start. He's sandwiched between two experienced American eaters, but he's intent on keeping focused. Kobayashi, true to form, takes an early lead, closely followed by Sonia Thomas. If Kobayashi is to beat his record of 53.5 hot dogs, he is going to have to eat one hot dog and bun every 13 seconds. Rob has a personal minimum target of 20. To reach that, he's going to have to eat the dogs at a rate of one every 36 seconds. Kobayashi is using a method he pioneered and which other eaters have copied. He eats 2 dogs at once, followed by 2 buns which have been dunked in water. Halfway through the 12 minutes, and Rob has eaten 6 hot dogs. He is on course to break the European record of 13 hot dogs, and maybe even get beyond the 20 he has set himself as a target. Kobayashi is in first place with 29, and Sonia Thomas in second with 25. 2 rookies, 1 Japanese, 1 American vie for third place. Cookie Jarvis isn't going to bring the belt back to the US. He's in 4th place.
This is where they hit the wall. This is when they need your help.
It's around the 8-minute mark when competitive eaters hit the wall and begin to struggle. Many are slowing down, taking on more water to force the hot dogs down. Kobayashi doesn't let up. He's on 43 hot dogs. Rob, like many of the eaters, is in trouble. He's only on 8 and can't seem to pick up the pace. With time running out, Rob makes one last desperate effort. With the 12 minutes up, Rob has only managed 10 hot dogs and come last. Kobayashi won with 49, 4 shy of his world record.
Indescribably low. Everything that we've done leading up into this 12 minutes and then getting into it, I feel so disappointed, you know. It's all the well-wishers, all the people that have spurred me on, all the competitive eaters that have, you know, wished me the best. And to get such low numbers and, you know, not even break the European record is really, really hard to take. I was on my 8th, sort of the halfway period, which is pretty good. They were going down really easy, and as I broke the next dog into my mouth, a trickle of grease ran down, and it made me feel really sick. And then you start to taste the salt, you start to really taste the grease, and I knew that I was going to be sick if I didn't slow down. I wasn't going to leave being sick. What can you do?
Ah, there it is. There's the stomach, like an anaconda that swallowed a pig. Look at that. Look at those arms. Let me see the guns again. Look at that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There he is, the champion. The belt goes around.
Despite the UK champ's poor showing, George's desire to spread the gospel of competitive eating abroad remains undimmed.
We live in a world where there's, I think, a false barrier, a false distance created between the masses and then those whom the masses watch, whether they are news broadcasters or political leaders or athletes. This sport eliminates that barrier and brings everyone together in an experience that is extremely rewarding and powerful.
Kobayashi returns to Japan to get back into training for his next eating challenge. For Rob, after the 4th of July fireworks, it's back to Wolverhampton. Who knows, though, with what he's learned, he might be back challenging next year.
You would do it in an absolute heartbeat. You'd do the lot again, and you'd live every second, every moment, every joy, all the sorrow. You'd do it again, not a problem at all. Japan was outstanding. New York, Coney Island, the people we met along the way. It's been not life-changing, but it's something I'll never forget, that's for sure.
Dare to be different, dare to be one.